I sat
Welcome
there
back to the
and
show.
watched it, and I could not
This is
believe
Brandon.
it. I said, not only is
This is something right here.
a political hydrogen bomb
They act like they didn't
for
know
him
he was walking
and
around the
the
White House
Democratic
looking
Party,
for Jill because he's shitting his pants. Come on.
what happened? What happened?
Is Joe Biden the person who
And
can
Kamala Harris
stop
says, well,
Donald
he didn't
Trump
do
or
this for
somebody
the
like
last three
Trump
and a
who
half
gets
years.
the
I just
Republican
woke up this
nomination?
morning. He was
That's when
wandering around
he's
the
got to
yard.
look in the mirror, search his soul, and make that decision. And I wanted to raise that question. I'd like him to think that through carefully because I have my concerns.
Here now with reaction, our former RNC chair, Reince Priebus, and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee.
They knew
Welcome,
every day
gentlemen.
that he was
Governor Huckabee, you know your way around
lost
the debate
in
stage.
space.
This blaming of staff for Joe Biden presenting as too old, for having the vacant look in his eyes, for allowing numbers to numb his brain. I mean, he could have gotten a doctor's note. They're saying he had a cold. I think if you take away the C, you get more of the answer here. But how do you see this? And do you think people will forget this debate performance and start focusing on the issues or start giving Joe Biden a little bit of grace?
With a super tan.
I think that there's no one to blame but Joe Biden. As a person who has been on the debate stage, the truth is you can have all these people talking to you and telling you what you ought to do and not ought to do. But you're the one that walks out there. And you also have the right to look at every one of them and tell them to shut up. I don't want to hear any more out of you.
It's like,
and sometimes that is the best thing to do, is to tell all the people who think they know what you should do to just leave you alone and let you go out there and do your thing. But they couldn't do that. And this nonsense about he had a cold, and that's why he was so raspy and he couldn't get his thoughts together.
I don't feel sorry for
every one of us know that if he'd really been sick in that 8-day sequestering up at Camp David, they would have talked about that every day. He's going to be there, even though he's going to have to push through how sick he is.
I can tell you,
look, let's just be realistic here.
They're abusing him.
There is a run on toilet paper in D.C. because of that performance last week. Because the Democrats,
so far
well, let's just say they're having a rough week too. Trying to decide how to deal with what is an absolute meltdown, and we're all seeing it.
Yes, and some of us are enjoying it. Couldn't happen.
But their meltdown is like acting like they just woke up yesterday morning and seen, the debate and the results. Like, oh my God, we didn't know he was like that. Bullshit. The media has been hiding it. Everybody, they even came out and said that the White House, that his people close to him, kept the White House staff from even getting in the same room with him, being around him, getting close to him, so they wouldn't know. Now, I'm telling you, when your White House staff's supposed to go everywhere you go in the White House, that's the rule. So, and when his people are stopping him, if you go look at the news and see Politico and all those guys, they are saying that world leaders had noticed it, that even Anthony Blinken had to step in and finish saying, saying the things that talking points and stuff when he was overseas at the G7 summit. He had to explain certain things to all these world leaders. Anthony Blinken did, because Biden was getting lost. Now, why didn't one of the world leaders step up if there are allies in the G7 and all this? Why ain't they saying anything? I mean, there's something behind that. Anthony Blinken needs to be fired. Every one of those guys need their asses kicked out of the White House.
Happen to a nicer crew. Reince Priebus, you've been the RNC chair, you're White House chief of staff. You have a big hand in this month's convention out in Milwaukee.
She got
you've been in the room to prep candidates for debates, including President Trump. Now, he preps just by not having a podium or lighting. He preps by doing these rallies and these interviews and whatnot. But I'm very curious about the blaming of staff, particularly.
Y'all see that flag?
Isn't that a risk that they're taking? The staff knows him best. The staff has been covering for him and his lack of acuity and agility for a very long time.
In front of you.
Well, you're right, Kellyanne. And you and I did debate prep in 2016. And it's ridiculous to blame the staff
look at this
for this
fool.
kind of performance. Because,
this is crazy.
He came out in the first 30 seconds and everyone knew something was wrong. He wasn't making any sense. When you do basic debate prep, it's not that complicated. Number one, hey, there's a split screen. When the camera's not on you, or you're not, when you're not speaking, you have to act like everyone's watching you because it's a split screen. Hey, you're going to get attacked on immigration, the economy, and inflation. You've got 3 canned answers. He couldn't deliver any of it.
No,
and it's a cover-up.
He's looking when
you're
Trump's
exactly right. The whole thing's a cover-up, and by blaming staff, you just make it worse. And these reporters that are talking about he needs to get out, what they really need to do is find out why.
No, these reporters.
I think Bob Woodward, if he kept playing his interview, he said it well, which is, look, this was so impossibly bad
independent news media
that these reporters ought to figure out why.
Hang on, I had to stop it. Sorry. For almost 4 years, Fox News has been showing true videos, not no fake videos like that little old girl in the White House keeps saying. And independent news, every one of us has been saying, look at this guy for almost 4 years. This fool can't even take a poop on his own. I mean, you think Jill really wants to go back to Delaware and spoon feed him and change his diapers? And not only that, Hunter's going to be moving in as soon as he goes back to Delaware. I don't even think none of the grandkids, like some of them that's bigger, do they even work? Every one of them's living off of him. That's why Jill doesn't want to leave the White House. That's why she's pushing him around, dragging him around, making him do all this stuff, because they know when he leaves, the money stops. They are a criminal organized family. They've made their millions from being public servants, which in my opinion is bullshit. No one goes in poor and comes out rich if they truly want to serve the public. It goes for Republicans and Democrats, liberals, all of them up there. They all need to get out of there, in my opinion. They're all full of shit. Why do you need 10 bedrooms in a house when there's people that don't even have one bedroom? Let's get back to the video before I get pissed off at these retards.
Was it so bad? What is the real answer? What really is going on with the president of the United States? If Scotty Scheffler shot 120 yesterday, no one would be saying, well, he had a cold, he had a bad day. No. They would be asking the question, and no one is asking this question. What is going on with Joe Biden?
Yeah. I would be asking what the hell's going on with
head. We can chuckle a little bit, but the serious point is
we don't need to laugh.
Leaders are also watching
this. Exactly.
And I like your perspective on that.
The world leaders.
Yeah, I think you're right. We have to recognize the serious part is that we're not the only ones watching. And we're not the only ones.
I mean, look at this old fool. He did not know what he was even talking about.
Watching. Putin's watches.
I bet he already
Kim
forgot.
Jong-un watches. They
what
all
he talked
look at
about
this.
And what he was trying to do in that
reason that
debate.
they never went into Ukraine when Donald Trump was president, Hamas would never have attempted to overrun
and if he did not have a teleprompter,
and butcher Jewish civilians like they did on October 7th when Donald Trump was president. They were scared to death of it.
Just like the debate.
They didn't,
when he came
didn't
out
know
last
what
night,
he might do, but they feared what he would do.
Hollered and
That's why I think we need him again.
That's all he does.
Because the world, whether they respect him or they're just afraid of him, I don't care. I just know they behave better. And we need a world like we had when Donald Trump was president, not the one we have when Joe Biden is president.
Yes, people know what they see.
All right, guys.
Governor Mike Huckabee and Reince Priebus, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
In that video. Hey, Sean. Okay, yeah, Sean Hannity there. So we knew it. We knew what. I mean, I think most of us know what he's like. I mean, this fool. I mean, he's an idiot. Listen to this one. I mean, we know he don't know where he's at. All he cares about is what flavor ice cream he's going to eat.
President Joe Biden just put a political target on the back of the Supreme Court. Remember,
after the Supreme Court
Democrats have been talking for years about packing the court, the greatest threat to American democracy today.
Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the news. Yes, the Supreme Court ruled. Yes, we want to say, yay, in Donald Trump's favor. Yes. But here's the bad thing about that. 40, 50 years from now, 30 years, who do you think is going to be using that Supreme Court the most, doing that, being crooked? The left. I can promise you they're going to be doing all that. And they're going to say, hey, you guys open the door. You guys. Now, I guarantee you they will be using that excuse for going after their political opponents, doing their things and saying, oh, it was presidential. I guarantee you the left will be using that more than the conservatives, the Republicans.
Has just become Joe Biden. He has reinforced his position of weaponizing the justice system and now weaponizing the Supreme Court.
All right, there you go. That was Tim Scott responding to the president's speech last night and the Supreme Court decision in the afternoon.
It's ridiculous, man.
President Biden facing strong backlash this morning after lashing out.
Look at him with the
Supreme
tan.
Court.
I mean, everything.
Ruling on immunity.
He is tanned up.
Democrats will now double down in
they
their push to
sprayed tanned him and everything because he looked dead the other night. He was so pale.
Greg
They
Steube
sprayed
joins
it
us
now. They
on the
can't say he don't
weaponization of the
look
federal
orange
government
like
subcommittee
Trump. So
that he's on. He joins
he
us.
is completely
Congressman, your
orange.
reaction to the Democrats' reaction to the Supreme Court
Yeah,
ruling?
AOC said we're going to
Well, it's fascinating that
impeach
Biden gets
all
up
the
there for 4
Supreme
minutes and
Court.
criticizes the court and
Oh, that
completely
woman needs to go home.
changes the
She's a
language
nut.
of the
Why
ruling.
are you people not voting
in the
her
ruling,
out?
it says that no president is above the law, yet Biden's now saying that Trump's going to try to use this. And now that any president that's in there is going to be able to do criminal acts and get away with it. It's fear mongering by the Democrats. It's their typical
That is
ploy,
true fear
to
mongering.
try to make it all about Trump taking
Gonna
over
scare everybody
the country
into
and
voting for
fear
Biden.
mongering the American people. And the American people are smarter than that. You've
I
seen
hope
Trump's
they
poll
are.
numbers increase dramatically after each
I mean, he
one
wouldn't
of
even
these
take questions. He
indictments,
wouldn't even
and
let
it's
the
because the
regular press
American
in there.
people
I
see
think
that
there
Joe
were
Biden
2,
has
3 people in there
weaponized
for the
the court
press.
system.
He
and the
turned around.
DOJ
They
to
already
go
had the
after
doors
his
open as soon
political
as he got
opponent.
done.
And
He walked
finally,
straight
the Supreme
out.
Court has had a case that they've been able
That
to
right
reset
there.
the pendulum
He
back
he's
to
doing
the
things
law.
like that. That
So,
is,
Greg, you're the lawyer. But what he's saying is go to the lower court.
he's doing things right there that's not even reassuring his donors or anybody. He could have stood right there and took some questions and showed that he was alert and he was he was awake and he wasn't shitting in his pants and he wasn't looking for Jill. No, what does he do? He turns around and walks straight out the doors. No questions, no nothing.
And case by case, find out and let the judge rule, whatever that lower court would be, whether what that president's doing is within his job description.
Crazy.
And if it's not, then he is going to be tried like everyone else because he's not above the law. But that's not the way it's been characterized, right?
But look here.
Yeah, within his official actions, which very clearly, this case stems from January 6th. President Trump just had a rally that day and told people to peacefully and patriotically let their voices be heard, which is clearly within the confines of his responsibility as president of the United States. Obviously, the president and his official actions has the ability to have a rally and talk to the American people and tell them to peacefully and patriotically have their voices be heard. So it completely upends and gives the president.
Here's what we need to do. So when Joe Biden took those classified documents, he was a senator and a vice president. He was not president. He did not do those in a presidential act. He didn't do it. He said he did it so he could hold on to them, so he could write his book and all that. He took them as a citizen and a vice president, not a president. He didn't have clearance to take those. So that would fall under, he would not have immunity. So he does not have immunity for that. So why are they not going to go after Joe Biden? Because he is a criminal. His family's a criminal organized family enterprise. So I'm telling you right now, that would be the first thing I'd done was go after Joe Biden and his family, because under that immunity, he was not president when he took those classified dockets. He was not president when he made the $8 million off the book he wrote. Where is the Hur report? I want them to release the tapes, because that's going to show his donors and the other American people that do not believe that he is really like he was Thursday night. I mean, come on, man. That's the true Joe Biden. If he does not have a teleprompter, if he does not have the answers in his pocket, you heard it from the news people saying the world leaders over there said he cannot even get through. They don't understand what he's saying. Anthony Blinken has to finish his stuff or talk to him for him. So we do not need a leader that of the United States that can't even carry on a conversation about another country with other countries. This is crazy, guys.
Immunity for official actions, and it upends all these Jack Smith cases. And I think one of the pieces, putting my lawyer hat on for a second, was Clarence Thomas's. He agreed with the majority, but what he said was that Jack Smith and these special prosecutors aren't even constitutional because they haven't been appointed by Congress. Congress didn't create special counsels to go after the president. So he says you have a civilian going after the president and prosecuting the president of the United States. And I think that's something that we in the House should focus on.
So listen to AOC. I always get up in the morning and think to myself, what would AOC do? I'm sure you do. You might have a bracelet like that.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this tweet.
She looks in the mirror, gets on Twitter,
exactly
gets on Instagram because she thinks she's a star.
She says the Supreme Court has become consumed by corruption.
Look at her. Yeah. The Supreme
corruption
Court
crisis beyond its control. Today's ruling represents an assault on American democracy. It is up to Congress
Bronx,
to
New
defend
York.
our nation
I
from
really
this
thought you guys would vote her
capture.
out.
I intend on filing articles of impeachment upon our return.
To leave her in.
How's she going to do that?
To be
She's
a
going to
school
impeach all the
teacher
justices?
is crazy.
Well, and she'd have to impeach 6 of them,
so.
3 of which were only appointed by President Trump.
Yeah.
And obviously the Republicans have the House, so that's not going to happen. You'd have to have them removed by, and a U.S. Supreme Court justice has never been removed in the history of our country because then it takes 2/3 in the Senate to remove them. So again, they are weaponizing the justice system, going after the court because they don't agree with them.
Okay, listen. I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to tell you guys something. If you guys don't know, wake up. This country needs to wake up right now. And I'm going to tell you one thing. Don't just go vote in November for a president. Make sure you vote. I'm voting for Trump, but here's the thing. My family votes for Trump. We're conservative. We believe in all our amendment rights. But don't just vote for a president, guys. Look and see who's your governor, your senator, what district they're in. Go down to even to the mayor of your town, to the road commissioner, to you name it. Go through there. Find out who these people are. Look them up. Explore it. Look at their values. See if their values align with yours. See if they live, how they live, if they're good people or not. If you don't like them, vote them out. That's the only way we're going to change America. Not just voting for one president. One president cannot change everything. They just can't. So I truly believe you have to vote all the way down to your town mayor, governor, senator, your road commissioners, your, school commissioners, all that stuff, school board, you name it. Get involved, change things. That's the only way we're going to get things done. So, like I always say, stay in your lane or vote the damn thing. This is Brandon. I'm out. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, comment button. The more you hit that like button and watch my videos, the more it's going to push it. I'm just building this channel up, so make sure you stay in your lane, buddy, or vote the damn thing.